Hello, and welcome back to Airport Essentials, the podcast that helps you navigate the world with confidence. I'm Sophie Bennett, and as always, I'm joined by the ever-practical James Whittaker. James, are you ready to help everyone pack like a pro today?
Absolutely, Sophie. I mean, packing is one of those things that sounds simple, but it can really make or break your trip, can't it? And well, I think most people, myself included, have overpacked at least once. Or, forgotten something crucial.
Oh, definitely. I still remember my first solo trip. I brought like 3 pairs of shoes for a weekend. Never again. But let's talk about making a packing list. James, you've got a system, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I always start with the destination. What's the weather like? What am I actually going to be doing? It sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people just throw things in a bag and hope for the best. Planning ahead really does stop you from overpacking, and it helps you avoid missing the essentials. Actually, I had a client once, lovely chap, heading to Thailand. He forgot his blood pressure medication. We had to scramble to get a prescription sorted abroad, and it was, well, not ideal. That sort of thing can really ruin a trip.
Oh, that's stressful. I think that's a good reminder that essentials aren't just clothes and toiletries. It's the stuff you can't easily replace, right? Like, for me, I always double-check my passport, chargers, and, any medication. But I still forget things sometimes. What do you think people overlook the most?
Honestly, adapters and chargers are big ones. And, people forget things like sunscreen or a hat if they're going somewhere sunny. Or, on the flip side, a raincoat for a place that's, well, a bit unpredictable. I always say, make a list, check it twice, and then, this is key, actually tick things off as you pack them. Otherwise, you'll end up with 3 toothbrushes and no socks.
Huh. Been there. And I think it's easy to get caught up in the what-ifs. Like, what if I need this? What if I need that? But most of the time, you really don't. It's about being realistic, isn't it?
Exactly. And speaking of being realistic, let's talk about clothes. I always tell people, pack things you can mix and match. You don't need a different outfit for every day, especially if you can do a bit of laundry. Versatile clothing is a lifesaver, especially if the weather changes or your plans shift.
Oh, absolutely. I had this layover in Amsterdam once. Total chaos, last-minute gate change, everyone running around. My suitcase was a mess, but my packing cubes kept me sane. I could just grab what I needed without digging through everything. Honestly, I don't know how I travelled without them before.
Packing cubes are brilliant, aren't they? I was skeptical at first, but they really do help keep things organized. And, if security needs to check your bag, it's so much easier to repack. I also use a small pouch for my documents and electronics. Passport, boarding pass, phone, that sort of thing. If you keep those accessible, you save yourself a lot of stress at the airport.
Yeah, and I always keep my chargers and headphones in a separate little bag. Otherwise, they end up tangled with my socks, and that's just not a good look. I think the key is, whatever system you use, just stick to it. It makes everything smoother, especially if you have to unpack and repack quickly.
And don't forget, keeping your documents safe is just as important as keeping them handy. I mean, losing your passport is a nightmare. I always use a zippered pocket or a travel wallet, just something with a bit of security.
Right, and speaking of safety, let's talk about first aid kits and medications. I always pack a small kit, just plasters, painkillers, that sort of thing. Nothing fancy, but it's come in handy more than once. And, like you said earlier, James, don't forget your prescription meds. It's not always easy to get replacements abroad.
Yeah, and on that note, I had a client who forgot their travel adapter on a trip to Japan. They couldn't charge anything for the first day, which was, well, a bit of a disaster. Voltage differences can be tricky, so it's worth double-checking what you need for your destination. I always pack a universal adapter now, just in case.
That's a good one. And honestly, packing light is underrated. The less you have, the easier it is to move around, especially in busy airports. You don't have to worry about lugging a massive suitcase upstairs or squeezing it into overhead bins. It just makes the whole experience less stressful.
Absolutely. And If you can manage with just a carry-on, you skip the baggage carousel entirely. That's more time for, well, actually enjoying your trip. Plus, it's easier to keep an eye on your things, which is always a good thing for safety.
So, to sum up, make a proper list, pack versatile clothes, keep things organised, and don't forget the essentials like medication and adapters. And if you can, travel light. It really does make a difference.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Sophie. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back soon with more tips to help you travel smarter.
Thanks, James. And thanks to all of you for joining us on Airport Essentials. Safe travels, and we'll catch you next time.